Okay, I think it's time. So we have 14 people now. I believe there are more to come. But anyway, let's start this event. As you already, the people are already here. We are WebHack Meetup. Today our monthly sharing topic is from individual contributor to tech lead by Tatiana-san. And it's very our honor to have this sharing. And so welcome, and we are still alive. I hope everyone in this pandemic time keep safe, and one day we can have the offline event together again. And I hope we can see you safely and happily after this time. So I will make a quick introduction about our meetup. We hold this meetup previously offline in Tokyo, and basically we have a monthly event, and every month the topic just changed and have different speakers. And because we try to help as much tech people as possible, and as you may know, we have several sponsors, and Indeed is one of our biggest sponsor, and it's very exciting to have the chance to collaborate with Indeed. And actually, our biggest event was holding Indeed. So we hope that we can have more sharing and to hear about the hint of success from the company speakers. And we have 1,000 more members, and for attendance we have 1,800, almost 2,000. The number doesn't matter because of course it matters. I mean, the number is not the most important thing. We hope we can provide both speakers and audience and the sponsors the most value we can provide. So that's why we continue this event for these years, and we hope we can continue to do that by your support. So if any one of you feel interested to give a talk, please just fill this form. This slide will be shared in the chat channel, so you can check it later. And today I will also record the collaborative notes here by the HackND. So, and this link will be shared after the sharing session, so you can check it if you want. And today we have a medium-sized talk, and we have a short time for Q&A. So if you want to take a rest, please just take it freely. So because we don't have any break, and I hope we can fully enjoy this talk. So I will not interrupt our Tatiana speaker. So anyway, it's not actually my time, and let's just move to the major session. Let's welcome Tatiana-san. And I think Tatiana, can you share the the slide? Yeah,
we're starting a little earlier.
Okay,
that's always good. Let me share the screen. Could you stop sharing?
Okay.
Thank you. So I hope it will be a little bit faster than 15 minutes, and we will have more time for Q&A. So my name is Tatiana, and I want to bring you to my journey from IC to a tech lead. But a little bit about me. So I worked at Yandex for about 2 years, and in parallel as working at Yandex, I was also a teaching assistant in a university, helping with programming, algorithms, data structures. Then from 2015, I'm working in Tokyo. I worked on 2 major products, company pages and the experimentation platform. And in between I also participated at Indeed onboarding program for new grads, where new grads, they come to Indeed, split it into teams, and I was mentoring 2 of those teams. And also in parallel, as working at Indeed, I participated in a university mentorship program, like a real university, where I mentored 2 student teams in the spring of 2020. I started in 2013 as an individual contributor, and for quite a long time, I was the only person I managed. Well, it was difficult, by the way. Then in 2017, I started to lead more people, and there it started. The spikes over here are the times when I managed to mentor the students' teams at Indeed University or University. So for the past 5 years, I led about 10 teams, and I want to share what I learned. So you can learn from my mistake and from my pain. Also, I hope you will deeper your skills by looking at them in some new angles, hopefully more useful angles than this on the picture. Let's make a step back. Who is a tech lead? Tech lead is someone who is focusing on a technical side of things. They also intersect and lead through focusing on the with a technical focus. They also intersect with a product manager, so they would also think about product impact, users, and so on. And they intersect with the engineering manager, so they also would consider the delivery, mentoring aspects, and so on. Starting pain or path. So when I just started as a tech lead, I was thinking I will be like this very cool, making bold decisions, knowing what to do, controlling stuff, and so on. And in fact, it more looks like this scream child over here who just going downhill and not really knows what's going to happen next. And the first question I really asked myself is like, what to do? Like literally, like what should I do? How my day should look like? And I wasn't sure, shall I continue my responsibilities? Shall I start new ones? What should I delegate? What I shouldn't be delegating? So I decided to Google it. What could be simpler, right? I Googled, but the results were not helpful. There was either too many things or the results were too general. So I decided that when I will figure out what to do, I will give a presentation, and here I am. I also wanted this presentation to be as concrete as possible without advice like be awesome. You guess you're familiar with this picture, like, but what I actually do is a little bit different from here. It's here. Let's take a look closer. So what I actually do. And before I introduce it, I must say that we all work in it. When I started being a tech lead or team lead, I was thinking, like, I really didn't know like what I should be doing, and I would come to everyone and ask, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they would say, "I'm doing code review." Okay, how much? How many lines? How many files? How many tickets do you review? How many minutes do you spend for that? And I don't know, a bunch. Like, and I would be really unsure what I should be doing, and what I'm doing, is it right or not? So for those of you who are maybe same as me, or who just curious to see what other people are working on, here's a time spent diagram. I tracked time for 2 weeks. It doesn't mean that you should follow this, or it's kind of correct one and others wouldn't be correct. Just one data point, FYI. I promise to be concrete, right? So I'm still working. There's a lot of things that related to IC, like introducing some technologies, writing code review, first responding. I also find myself busy with finding new projects for the team, technical or not technical, working on some pet project, and a lot of communications via email, Slack, and team meetings. And there are some self-learning and working with other teams, working with users, and so on. Okay, then I found another struggle. First, I was very active, like too active, and seeing a new responsibilities, I would be like, yeah, a new responsibility, I want it, yummy. And a month later of this strategy, it looked like this. I suddenly found myself being a bad gene whose wishes made truth, but in a way you don't want it to be true. And at this point, it really occurred. Everyone was saying about was speaking about delegation, but only at that point I realized, yes, I need to delegate stuff. And delegation. Delegation is easy. So you would just say what to do, I thought. But in reality, delegation is more like herding cats, where you think you're clear on what to do, or like what you want, what should be the goal, but then everyone's starting to think their own ideas, go to like various directions. Sometimes it's better than yours, but it still adds some chaos into your life, especially at the beginning when you expect something like on the left. So one vision to align the team, to align these cats, is to create a system vision. System vision answers a question: how should it work if we would have infinite resources? How would we build it? Or if you know all the requirements, if we would have all the knowledge that we have now, how would we build it from the scratch? System vision defines problems that needs to be solved by the system, and it should clearly define interfaces between your system and other systems. With system vision, it helps you to drive technical direction and align the team. Without that, people tend to just repeat the same patterns over and over again, even if it's recognized to be bad. See the example with car in that bottom. And by the way, I think that's a real car. Not surprisingly, not many of you don't know what this car is, I guess. So I've heard something like, oh, system vision is the most important. You should get it right away. And I was imagining myself that like it should somehow appear in front of me, and I should really understand. And when maybe a week later it didn't, this vision didn't appear magically on the ceiling, I was scared. And later I realized that probably at the beginning, the best what you can do is create some vision like that, like not very precise, but so it would be some vision still, and then you could iterate on it for next years. In fact, it took about a year for me to understand how stuff should work in my current team. And it also very depends if you're working on a new product and a new team, or if you're continuing with with some mature team and mature product. For the new one, probably you want to get your vision faster. Now, when we get the vision, let's talk about sharing it, like sharing a big idea, maybe sharing the vision, or sharing some new process. Maybe you want to introduce, maybe you want to start to have write unit tests for every change, or API first pattern, or zero bugs policy, and so on. So how would you share it? How would you share it? Okay, why not just say it? Sure, you say, and it was actually one of my biggest discoveries when I became a lead, that you're sharing it, you think it's clear, and then the next time someone is supposed to use it, they would be the only one person who didn't didn't heard it, forgot, thought it doesn't make sense anymore, thought because they have deadlines, they can ignore it and so on. So really just saying it doesn't work. There is think about it as a programmer who would have a gun and try to shoot into a target. And they would shoot, and all the bullets would be missing, like would pass by the target. None of bullets comes to the target. And then someone from the target side would say, hey, all the bullets are missing, do something. And the programmer would reply, there is no problems on my side. Everything works here as expected. And from thinking about, this is kind of a joke, supposed to be a joke about programmers, but I think it's also a joke about communication. So we think, okay, I said it clearly, maybe I sent a mail, other people understood, so it's definitely not a problem on my side. And that makes sense. However, this is not a productive way of thinking if you want to be an efficient communicator. So I decided that I found that it's more efficient to just repeat, really repeat this, the thing, so people would most likely understand or think it's your idea is still applicable. So I ended up with pattern of repeating, and repeat, and repeat. And that's actually worked for a while, and worked very well until maybe last year when we had a production issue. And at that time, it wasn't a big one, so it was a small spike, and we wouldn't know what's going on, but it didn't have bad consequences at that time. So myself and some team members would discuss that issue periodically or share some ideas. And at some point, after maybe 2 months of discussions, I would assume that everyone aware of that problem. And one day, one person would report one person from the team would report, hey, people, hey guys, I found this problem. And that would be the exact problem we were chatting for 2 months so far. And while it could be felt frustrating, but I thought it's actually normal that if you're chatting from that and it requires some context to understand that actually makes sense that people would not notice or would not understand. So I found that person, they also found about the problem, not from our chats, but from dashboard. So repeat, but in a bit different way. So it could be repeatable. You could repeat it on just while speaking or in emails, or if applicable, you could create a dashboard or alert that would repeat your idea of having some problem in production, if that's applicable. And by now, you're probably curious, okay, how would I repeat stuff and don't look crazy or fixated on the same thing? It bothered me, like this exact question bothered me for a while. And I found that code reviews are actually a good place to repeat your ideas, or just to share any ideas or remind, or not necessarily yours even. And I think code review is one of the most important processes, and I'm saying one of just because I don't want you to quote me that it's the most important process. This is the process for SVEs to share knowledge. And if you have that example one, hey, let's from now on everyone write unit tests, then that's the process, that's the place where you can repeat your idea many times, and that will be and not look crazy. Code reviews also help to improve the quality. Code reviews help you to get insights into relationships. Look at this picture. So here we have angry dog writing a lot of comments, Angry Cat is waiting for it. Then Angry Cat would reply on those comments and send back to the angry dog. How many of you participated in this conversation or witnessed this? I definitely can relate to some of the code reviews like here. And that's why like many people, well, that's one of the reasons why many people would say, yeah, but on code review, people tend to get heated. They kind of cause conflicts, right? This process can't be good if it causes conflicts. I think that code reviews don't cause conflicts. They only highlight existing conflicts. So you as a lead, as a tech lead or like team lead, reading code reviews and especially like this type of things will help you to find existing conflicts and hopefully solve them. So code reviews. Again, I promise to be concrete. I'm leaving about 300 to 400 comments per quarter. I have a checklist of what to review and advise you to have. I can share in the Q&A session what I have in the checklist. And also there is a I think it's awesome article on how to code review, like a human. And that picture with cat and dog I took from this article. Now, when we finished with our daily routines, let's talk about prioritization. And I'm talking about precisely about technical tickets prioritization because I don't want to come into minefield of product prioritization. Is this resonating in the context of technical prioritization? I want to see, yeah, I see some people nodding. So deadlines, they're like time bombs, and deadlines is also our obligation to others. When we are individual contributors, we would, when I was an individual contributor, I would often find myself working at, like saying, oh, I can't leave office now. Yeah, that's, we had office at that time. Like, oh, I can't leave office now. I must work on this thing. If I don't do it now, then blah, 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 blah. And when you become a tech lead, you would, now your inability to prioritize tickets with deadlines in advance will be harming your team members, not only you, and maybe not just, yeah. So I remember at the beginning, I would be, in the beginning of being a lead, I would be like follow my old habits and see a ticket with deadline. And I would think, yeah, okay, but deadline is not so soon and we have something else to do. And I will prioritize it a little later. So it's small, so it's fine if you do it like 2 days in advance. And then I would forget, I would get some maybe PTO or some holiday would come that I forgot about. So I remember, like, I clearly remember like one case when I was writing to my team member and saying, this is a thing with deadline. Could you stop doing what you're doing and focus on this one because you want to deploy today? And I was realizing I caused them to work under stress, to work under pressure, or that kind of to use time is not in the way how they planned to use it. And it was not productive, and I had really no good excuse to kind of explain why I'm asking in the last moment. So, prioritization rule, number 1, prioritize deadlines to go first. These rules, I think they're applicable for everything, for technical tickets, for product tickets, for your personal tasks. But I'm doing a context of technical tickets. If you follow this rule, you will have no last moment diffusing. You will not need to pretend that everything is fine. Let's say you're saying, accessibility, like let's say you're working on accessibility and on privacy, and there is a real probability that someone might file lawsuit if you have a bug in production. And you would say, yeah, but the other teams, they also have the same bug. I know for sure they didn't fix. And who will be checking these like font sizes? I'm sure they won't be checking it. So it should be fine, right? You wouldn't need this type of thinking if you prioritize the lines first. And you will get total control over the fire. Then hopefully you prioritize the line first, and hopefully you have some capacity to work on something else related to technical stuff. There are so many things to work on. There is you can go with like zero, you can fix some bugs, you can maybe split, like do some refactoring, like split a repo, combine several repos, create API, improve alerts, improve some, I don't know, set up SLOs and so on. Again, when I just became a technical lead, I would be thinking, I would take all these tickets in front of me, and I would think, okay, what is the impact of adding unit tests to this class compared to impact of resolving this one alert that happens once a week? And I would be like really thinking and scratching my head. And at the end, I would end up with a bunch of tickets from all the different projects that I would prioritize. And then there's at the end of quarter, I would realize that I can't really formulate what we've done in this quarter, because to each direction, we made very, very small progress. And here is the rule number 2 comes. Your strategic project should be prioritized as the next after the deadlines. And you need to pick one, or maybe few, but not all. And the rule number 3 is everything else. This follows from the rule 1 and 2. There is everything else category that is not deadline, not strategic project. And it won't be done soon, and you need to accept it. And I find this the most difficult for me, because sometimes when I'm putting like a priority, moving a ticket down in priority list, like I feel like a physical pain that like we weren't working on it. But every time you feel that, ask yourself, is this ticket, is it really has higher priority, higher impact compared to those which I already prioritized? And if yes, well, maybe it should be prioritized. But oftentimes, no, it's just different, and it doesn't have higher impact. So be like this cat, this business cat, just knock out that ticket from your table, and then nothing happened. You will work on it later, maybe. The next advice is to defer what doesn't matter. It will help you to find treasures. Look at this picture. You think it's just, I don't know, dirt, but no, try to find the cat on this picture. And now I hope I didn't lose all my listeners' attention here. But in 2 quarters, I closed the deferred 253 tickets. It was almost half of all the tickets we had. And these tickets, they were tickets that we surely will not do soon or ever. For example, it was some improvements for features that we already deleted, or it was many duplicated tickets, or proposal to using stuff like new technologies that are already not new and we already used, and maybe getting rid of those. I received many thanks and I got no complaints. That was surprising even for me. And after that, finding anything in the backlog became like this. And this is the cat, by the way. So it's much easier to find anything if you have backlog looking like that, isn't it? Own your technical backlog. it's really important to have someone advocating for technical backlog, because teams often focus only on product side, and they forget to deal with the technical debt. Owning what means bi-weekly or just regular prioritization of the technical tickets, and regular review and deferring the tickets you have. I was a technical owner for about 2 years before I could delegate it, and I didn't delegate it only because I was learning so much from this process, and it was really a good deal on use of my time. So advising you to own it. Talking about priorities, I think I skipped one very, very difficult point talking about priorities. Can you notice what I skipped? So in that, talking about that rule number 2 and saying that strategic project, you need to choose one strategic project. I didn't say how would we choose that one? How would we find out which one is the most important? And as you grow, the struggle you get is that your perspective is not representative anymore. Look at this picture. Here is a leadership that found a new tool or new feature, and they very like it. And the team see the picture like they see it from a different angle. The fact your perspective had never been representative, but now it's even less representative. So it makes it harder to choose a next project. The thing that could help to deal with that is to value and aim for the first-hand experience. When I worked as an IC, as an individual contributor, in my team we had a first responding process. When only during working hours you would have to read emails, messages from users, and reply on those. So I would, and I didn't like that. It's not okay process, but something was wrong about it. And every one-on-one I had, I would think, oh, there's something wrong. It's bad. It's something wrong, something broken. And I really couldn't find real good words to explain to my manager what I found, what is bad, what exactly frustrates me about this process. And he would not understand me, and it would continue for maybe like a quarter or 2 quarters. And then one day he said, oh, I will participate in first responder rotation once. He did. I didn't have high hopes, but next time we met, I asked, hey, how was it? And he replied, oh, I think I know what you meant. I guess you meant that. Ah, yes, exactly. And this was exactly the reasons why I didn't like this first responding rotation. And he will be able to verbalize it for me. And then over the next several quarters, he was driving improvements for the first responding experience. And that's where we make the sense of that advice I got from the Google to do list everything. That's really, you don't have to do it everything all the time, but at least doing it once could be beneficial. Doing and coding and code review, first responding, design doc, deploying, like updating configurations, contributing various code bases, and so on. Another example on this matter I've heard from a podcast. There was some companies, they also had first responding rotation, but those first responders would receive notifications at night in particular. And oftentimes they have to wake up at night and start to solve bugs in production. I guess it's not very happy experience. But the tickets were not prioritized. Tickets to fix some production issues were not prioritized. And then they included product manager into that rotation, who obviously will not be able to debug code, maybe only follow the runbooks. But after several rotations, they started to prioritize the tickets, and already none of the team members had to wake up at night. Powerful tool for managing up, by the way. So it helps you to prioritize what matters. It's also related to that mindset of learning all the roles in your team. It will help you to onboard a new person, be a sounding board for anyone, and replace a teammate when they go to vacation. In fact, every time someone goes to vacation, I'm trying to volunteer and take over their tickets. So it will help me to learn kind of their experience and just the different corners of the system. It will also help you to lead by example. So like, especially when you're proposing some like painful improvements, like let's write very nice documentations from now on, or let's have a unit test for everything. So when people see that you yourself doing the same thing that you're proposing, they will more likely to follow you. And let's repeat what we've learned. And this is a wing that I draw myself. Before I repeat, let's, I know you all from different organizations, different background, different level, and so on. But try to think about like one thing or two things that you could get from my presentation and apply starting tomorrow at your work. So, repeating, learn all the roles in your team. And by role, I mean not just job titles, but like first responding role, code reviewer role, and so on. Value first-hand experience. Your priorities are: deadlines go first, strategic project is the next, choose one. And then goes everything else. And everything else won't be done, just accept it. Create your system vision, iterate. It will help you to drive technical priorities and help the team to be aligned. Repeat your big idea. And remember that code reviews or perhaps design reviews are good places for sharing the ideas. And have technical backlog and own it. And the most important, have fun and enjoy your ride. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Tatiana. And I think you have a poll to launch before we have a Q&A session.
Yes, I do. I will launch a poll. Please, it's only one question. Please respond. I will check how well you remember my presentation. Joke.
Okay. I think everyone, please make a poll. And by the way, for Q&A, whether you prefer any, like, in what way you want to have that, like just raise the hand or have a text recall in the chat, or
any looks good.
Okay.
Whatever more convenient for participants.
Then I think it would be better if for anyone want to ask a question, type in the chat first, because it is easier to understand the keyboard recall. Yeah, but if you just want to raise your hand to ask a question, that's also fine. Actually, I just got one, so maybe I can type in channel first.
What is it team members found you are wrong about text suggestions, or what if your team members found you are wrong about text suggestions or plans or directions? How to handle such situation?
Actually, this is from me. So I think previously I work as an architect, and it's different from team tech lead, but very similar at a position that you need to give your advice and have the vision and give advice for the system. But sometimes you embarrassingly found that you are wrong. And even at that, maybe at one time, you feel you are right. Everyone agree that is a good direction to do something. But after maybe 3 months, you found that things change. It's very embarrassing because you have a position, duty, and responsibility. So I just wonder, as a tech lead, like how you handle such a situation.
That happens all the time. So kind of trying to learn on it. That's maybe one suggestion. We also recently did some team exercise where we reviewed our technical decisions made 2 years ago, made like in 2019, and we found that there was many wrong, like yes, some of the decisions were wrong, and we would probably do it differently. But then you can like summarize your learnings and hopefully don't make the same mistakes.
I just want a quick another question related to this is whether there's any like as a team as a tech lead, whether you expect a team member to co-work with you to when you plan the system vision or something like a big plan.
So it depends. So kind of I try to, how to say, I usually work out maybe first version myself, just because I want silently to think about it silently. But at some point, even when if it's a kind of draft, I would share with someone in the team and get their feedback and maybe work with them on improvements. Also, sometimes for not for the like vision of the whole system, but for like some components. People would just come up with ideas and propose them, working on their own, and I only review and share feedback.
I ask this because sometimes make it more easier to take the failure, because it's more like a team's decision rather than yours own decision only. So but I think this, as you say, depends. So
I found it's I had one experience of pair designing, where when 2 people are assigned on one design, and we worked as a kind of as a wave. So we would we would think kind of in parallel, then we sync, then again think parallel, sync. We worked like this, and I found it was very like of excitement, collaboration, and it was also much faster than if I would be doing it alone.
Thank you. We got 2 questions now, so maybe we can have the Q&A and move to the next question. The first is, what do you think of the difference between the tech lead and the engineering manager? Which one do you like?
Well, I think both kind of this is a little bit different roles, and kind of this is some diagram that I found on the internet. But in fact, I think they tech lead and like engineering manager, they're I think very close, or depending on your team, they can be very close. I think that about difference, the engineering manager would be someone who has one-on-one with people and with devs, and who focus on their career focus, development, And they, I don't know how about other organizations, but I think and indeed they kind of have final responsibility of the delivery of the team. While tech lead, they would mostly focus on the technical stuff, and kind of people mentoring is important, but not the primary goal. I like I like being a tech lead.
Okay, I think this question is for I don't know how to, maybe I don't know how to pronounce the name correctly, so please forgive me. This is from Xiaowei. So is this an answer what you ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, actually I missed the slide. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So I think we can move to the next question then. So next is from Rogelio Kobashi-san. What about the tickets that fell into the everything else category and stay there for a long time? This tends to just keep going. I think this is very classic. How do you handle this?
Yeah. Well, kind of all the backlog is growing, right? And products as well. In our team, we have technical backlog and product backlog. And for the technical one, and every 2 weeks, we try to prioritize 60% of product tickets and around 40% of technical tickets to exactly deal with that one. Of course, if you have maybe like 1,000 tickets in the backlog and you can only work 1 per week, then, well, yes, that's going to be very long. I mean, it's going to, some tickets going to stay forever. We try to have, two answers. Like one, prioritize technical stuff regularly. Not, I don't believe into fixed weeks, and I'm actually against the fixed weeks, because I think fixed weeks makes our mind to think that, oh, I will do it now fast and then I fix later, and this later will never come, because fixed week is much shorter than you really need to fix all the that you introduced. So one, fix what you have regularly, like weekly, or like prioritize for every sprint. Two, every time you work on a ticket, try to think on a feature, try to do it in the best ways possible without introducing a new debt. Try to think, how would we design it from scratch? And then try to implement it in that way. And do refactoring as you go.
Okay. Well, I think it's very classic, as I say. Actually, I think everything's backlog will contain that of this, maybe let's say 6 year. The bug is already 6 years old. Actually, I have seen one bug like 10 years, because it's an open source project, so no one really have the time for that. And after 10 years, it's miraculously fixed. So sometimes it's hard to say whether I just drop everything. Yeah, but I think that's an edge case, and most of the teams will manage that like maybe every quarter or half a year. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe into that.
Yeah. So so Rogelio, whether this sounds good to you?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So okay. We have a next question. Wait, my check is somehow missed. So okay. Next question is from Tim. How did you convince teams to work on the technical debt ticket from the tech debt backlog? Every team had to include a certain percentage of technical debt tickets. Yes.
Fortunately for me, like in my current team, it's quite easy to convince. In fact, everyone agree everyone is happy to work on the technical debt tickets, and even our product manager has a programming background, so he very well understands and appreciates and that don't mind prioritizing some of technical debt tickets. And yes, we have sprints, and for every sprint we have some number of story points we are going to add, and about 40% of the story points are about technical tickets. It's not necessarily technical. Yeah, it could be like technical debt or some refactoring, or maybe building a new API that would be helpful for some future projects. Of yeah.
So, okay, we have a new question, and I think is this sounds good?
Yes, very good. Thank you.
We have the next question from Rogelio again. Have you had the feeling of not getting things done, specifically coding or delivering features, because most of your team has been planning, organizing, estimating meetings? Yeah.
Yes.
This quite classic again. Yeah.
Yeah. This is and it's especially difficult at the beginning because as an individual contributor, I got to use to measure my efficiency and my usefulness as in number of tickets I closed, or maybe number of bugs I found. But once you become a tech lead or a team lead, you have no time, or you have much less time into into writing code. So that's really yeah, I do have that feeling of having less things done. I didn't to overcome that, it's useful to work with your manager in understanding, or yes, yourself too, to understand what kind of in what kind of way you're contributing now, and what is useful for your team from what you're doing.
I think actually this happens every time, especially like sometimes you found the members are just overwhelmed by some bug fixing. That's a very simple but sometimes crucial, because you don't know when the bug will get fixed and whether there's any workaround can make it on time. So yeah, and sometimes just too many meetings. Yeah. Okay. I think we can move faster. Next is from Carlos. Some issues are not about organizing the task, but about members' relations. Oh, I see in your example with angry code review, how have you approached these cases? How would you rather have done it in a different way?
Kind of, it depends on like how bad these relationships are. Maybe if it's very bad, I would talk with the engineering manager over here and ask their advice. Yeah, that's a very good question, and I'm realizing I think I don't have an example in my experience when the relationships were very bad. If it's some cases like people get heated during code review, then I have an idea. I have a suggestion how if you are one of those angry code reviewers, what you should be doing. The first thing you're probably chatting about something. You're probably disagreeing on something. So I advise for you to invite third person to whom you trust and say whatever this person says, you both trust to them. Whatever they say, that would be the solution. That's what we will do. And then they say one of those options, and you follow their advice. So you could quickly cut this disagreement, and you can also hear from the neutral person what the arguments they use to make this decision.
Yeah, I think I have such experience that in my previous company, some reviewer online just sent an IRC message to me, say, you trashed my work. He directly used the term, you trashed my work, because we have a conflict code, and it's a very tough time. And there's similar cases every time I join a new team. Not every time director, but sometimes you just took it personal. But I think I learned from a manager, people manager, to say you just don't take these things personal. I know it's different, but it's difficult, but still I think this is kind of rule. To put everything personal, then you will have a very tough time to be reviewed or become reviewer. You will become dictator to say, okay, everything should be follow what I want. So it's also not a really good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, while we're talking, if we can extend this question for this code reviews or design review stuff, there are a bunch of good advices on that, how to code review like a human article, and several advices are like, first, like people get triggered. So usually everything goes okay when you have less than 50 comments, and the 50 is like a magic number, and after 50, people start to get heated. So if you be able to start your comments from more important things, then and just get resolved the more important things and skip the less important, then that would be nice. Another thing is you need to some people think they receive code review, and let's say this code review, you give a score like a D, like bad, and you would say, as a reviewer, you think, oh, I will approve it only if it would be A or A plus, and that's and then you try to make this D to A plus, and you ruin your relationships with your teammate. It depends on the teammate, but it's possible. Trust me. So instead of that, you receive this code review, it's D. Okay, how can we make it C? You made it C. Oh, now it's good enough. Next time, you submit some of the code that you wouldn't write yourself, and maybe you don't like it, but you get maybe like this little bit worse code. But then you keep your good relationships with this teammate. They see you as a mentor, and next time they submit C code review and you make it B, and next time they do B and you make it A, and then A plus. So you keep positive relationships, and their code getting improved. And the third advice they give is to give gifts on the code review. And the gift on the code review is code. So instead of I remember when I was learning React, someone wrote me, I forgot how this you should be using here some blah 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 chaining or something like that, and I would, what is that? And it was like, would be comment number like X, like number 30. What is this chaining? And that's happened to the very simple thing, like something like that question mark operation, but React specific one. So instead of writing, oh, use this concept, or please rename this variable so it will be easier. Instead of writing that, you can say, oh, it can be renamed to that, or this block can be rewritten into that, and gift them this piece of code so they will feel that you are collaborative rather than dictative.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, thank you. I think we almost use our time, but we have, I mean, in original plan is 15 minutes.
I think 50 is until
and but that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean 15. Yeah. So it's usually we only have a short Q&A, but if everyone feel fine, then we can continue to answer the question. And I think we have two. One is from Tim again. How do you encourage team members who are very quiet to participate in discussions? Yeah.
Good question, Tim. I had such teammates. I tried to ask their opinion during meeting, and I think it wasn't very successful. The next thing, I found that they very participative and collaborative in like one-on-one discussions, or they're also very well in like reviewing docs and giving written suggestions. So I would maybe I wouldn't treat as a big problem if they don't participate and not speak up in team meetings a lot, but try to still include them into making decisions by like commenting into the documents or having like one-on-one discussions about some documents or like any decisions you're going to make. We also often do voting, for example, what time we have stand up, this or this, let's vote. And maybe not everyone would say why they want to stand up early, but when voting, and you could ask this person why you think so, and include them into making decisions.
I have heard that as a manager, although technically is different, but as a manager, the most important thing is you need to understand how each teammate's motivation to stay in your team and company. So after that, it will become easier. I think this is somehow related. Yeah. So I think I just got one direct message. There's a question about whether this could be a brief introduction about Indeed Tokyo, like how many SWEs are there, and what job do you guys do on a daily basis? How is different from the Austin office? I think this is the last question in my list, and I think because I'm not Indeed employee, so I don't know whether you or founder can provide some information. I think there are some people also curious about that. Yeah,
that's a very good question. Fanga, do you want to take it?
Sorry, I didn't hear clearly the question.
Okay.
You that you go first.
Sorry, I hear someone speaking.
Tatiana, you might want to go first.
Okay, so please someone help me. I don't know how many engineers in Tokyo office, but like in Tokyo we have two offices in Tamachi and Ebisu, although now everyone is working at home. What we are doing on a daily basis, do you mean what projects, or like what kind of like tasks? Okay, so we have a bunch of projects in Tokyo. For example, like company pages are in Tokyo, like experimentation platform where I'm working now is in Tokyo. And there are actually many teams that are working in Tokyo. I very like the Tokyo office, like Tokyo, kind of the Tokyo office atmosphere. I think it's a little bit different from Austin. But kind of the projects we work on, that some engineering standards are more or less consistent across offices. But I feel that in Tokyo, people are very friendly, very open, and very well. Actually, in Austin also. Well, I struggle to find differences between Tokyo and Austin offices. Fanga, maybe could you help?
Yeah, sure. Greg, what is the question? I'm sorry.
So like how many, I think software engineers there roughly, and what's the basic job do like on daily basis?
Yeah. Got it. I do have the exact number for software engineers based in Tokyo. It's 139. It's 139. As for daily work, well, I think it really varies based on different teams. I can share my team's day-to-day work. My team uses the pair programming on a daily basis. So I pair with another person every day for every single task. The life would be super different for maybe Tatiana. And as I need to echo Tatiana's sharing, there are so many different teams focusing on different work. We do have advertising system and messaging apps, all iOS or Android development. Even for the website, we do Tokyo teams do Europe designs and implementations as well as for Japan's. So yeah, very different backgrounds. And I think every single team has their own kind of dynamics. But I feel if you feel interested, feel free to, I think, add Tatiana or me on LinkedIn so we could offer some help.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's online event, so we don't have the booth. Usually we have a booth for these questions.
Yeah. As far as was replied, maybe the only correct reply to say that we have small teams and these teams are autonomous and they be able to decide what processes they want to follow and what processes suit them the best. And because every team has few number of members, it's usually very kind of you have a voice to say what you like. Do you like Scrum, Kanban, pair programming, no pair programming, pair design, etc. And you can influence your team and choose what you all will choose the processes that suit you best.
Okay, I think that's quite answer the question, and we don't have further questions. So thank you for joining today's meetup event, and let's just have our greatest thanks to Tatiana and the founder. And I think this is a quite great sharing to me. I hope you also enjoy that. And I found out whether this meeting room will be closed soon, or you have like a speaker and us to talk about some other things.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, well, all the organizers will just leave this room, but it's a stage for you to talk with Tatiana if time works with you, Tatiana. If you want to stay and connect with other attendees, it's totally fine. Sure, yeah, it seems, well, Tatiana will stay, and if any of you would want to talk with Tatiana directly, feel free.
Okay, then thank you again for joining today's meetup, and hope to see you again soon.